En el episodio de esta noche de Cocinado con Corona, I'm making tacos. That's right, tonight's episode, we're going to Mexico. Sort of. Going to be combining a couple different techniques tonight. We're going to be using the Instant Pot over here to cook some chicken. Yes, meat lovers rejoice, I'm cooking some meat tonight. And I'm also going to be using the barbecue. We're cooking outside tonight because, well, it's been absolutely beautiful all day. If I seem a little less professional than usual, it's because I've had a few drinks. So with that, let's get started. We're going to review what we're using tonight. One of the things I'm focusing on tonight is also how to stretch your dollar, because I'm not sure if you've seen the stock markets lately, but every penny counts. With that, I'm actually using chicken thighs with the bone, with the skin, because they are the cheapest. Now what I've done is I've peeled the skins off of the chicken thighs. Okay, now literally a chimpanzee could do this, and that's because peeling the skin off of those is just like peeling a banana. So first things first, take the skins off. We're gonna take the skins and we're gonna put them in the Instant Pot. Oh my god, gross, right? No. The skin of the chicken's got fat, it's got flavor. Alright, we're not gonna eat the chicken skins, don't worry about that, but it's important that they're in there. So I've just got this bad boy on saute, and many of you might have one of these at home. If you don't, you can really just replace it with any form of cooking the chicken. The goal is to cook the chicken, but what I'm going to do is show you how you can use this device to take your chicken to the next level. Because I got plenty of time, so I figured I would really show you how to make something absolutely delicious. So chicken skins go in, and then that's on saute right now. I'm just going to add a little bit of garlic, tiny bit of jalapeno, and a bit of white onion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to saute this off at the bottom. Then I'm going to put the chicken thighs in. Then we're going to pressure cook that. And the idea, or the hope, I suppose, I've never actually done this before, is that we're going to be able to pull those chicken thighs with the bone in them out of there and then shred them, just like a pulled pork, and end up with all this beautiful shredded chicken, which we're then going to cook in its own juices a little bit further, reduce that down, and hopefully end up with some succulent, flavorful chicken, which is going to then go into our tacos. I'm also making some mixed vegetables with some leftover beans from the other night, and that's going to be a veggie taco. So I'm going to be cooking a vegetarian taco tonight, as well as a chicken taco. You're free to make it whichever you want. They're both going to be delicious. So I'm going to let this sweat down for a little bit, and then we'll come back for the next step. So everything's been sauteing in the Instant Pot now for just a few minutes. It's starting to sweat down, which is good. Now we're going to add the chicken thighs. And if you notice, I've got a bit of a seasoning on these. That's one side. We're going to put them seasoning side down, then we're going to add some extra seasoning. But what that is a mixture of chili powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper, all seasoning, bit of cumin. And I've actually added ancho chili powder to these ones specifically, which I've not tried before. I'm interested to see how that tastes. But really, you know, that's a classic sort of Mexican flavor, and if you don't want to make all that, you can just go out and get a taco seasoning. So, chuck these in, season side down, and we'll let those brown off for a few minutes, and then we'll flip them. I'm gonna run inside and grab the seasoning that I forgot to put on the other side. And we're just going to brown those off. We're not cooking them right now. We're just browning them, because then what we're going to do is we're going to add this beautiful chicken stock here to the whole show there. And then we're going to put the lid on and pressure cook it for only about 15 minutes. And if everything goes to plan, I'm going to be able to just pull that meat off the bone like a pulled pork and end up with this really delicious shredded chicken. And then I'm actually going to reduce the broth, reduce the stock and all the other goodness that's going to be in there a little bit further, strain that off so we don't have the chunks, and then I'm going to actually add the chicken back into that. So I'm going to end up hopefully with this just delicious succulent chicken. If you've ever been to Mexico and had a really nice taco down there, a lot of the time they just have this delicious tender meat that's really well seasoned and really succulent, and that's what I'm going for tonight with these tacos, and that's why I'm using the Instant Pot to hopefully achieve that. I've just added the rest of the seasoning to the chicken thighs. So now they're seasoned on both sides, and what you can see is there's definitely some burnt bits at the bottom. I'm going to flip these over now, so we're going to brown the other side. They said we're not cooking these right now, we're just browning them. And you will notice there's a bunch of burnt bits at the bottom. That's fine for right now while we're sauteing, but when we go to pressure cook these, it's going to be really important that we deglaze the pan or the pot. And so deglazing is just a fancy way of saying adding liquid. You could deglaze with anything. Doesn't matter as long as you're adding liquid to that pan. What you're doing is you're getting any of the burnt bits off the bottom of the pan and you're scraping them off, adding that liquid so they come off the bottom. And it's really important you do that with the Instant Pot, because if you don't deglaze it or if you don't get those burnt bits off, it's going to have issues coming up to pressure. You might also get a burn warning as well. So deglaze the pot. Simply all deglazing means is adding some form of a liquid. In this case, we're going to be using chicken stock. I'm taking in some liquid. Now it's time for the chicken to take in some liquid as well. So that's only been cooking for probably a total of 5 minutes, if that. What I'm going to do now, this is important, come down here. I'm going to turn the Instant Pot off of saute, so I'm going to cancel the saute, and I'm going to add our chicken stock. Now this is going to freak out, that's fine. Now that that's in, here's the important bit. You need to take something with a flat edge. I've got this very trusty, lovely, flat-edged utensil, and I'm going to really scrape. I'm literally scraping all the burnt bits off the bottom. And as I said, I can't stress enough how important this is. And what you're doing is just making sure that all the seasoning is now going to go into that liquid, which is going to bathe this chicken. And really, it's just going to get pressure cooked into the chicken, and I'm hoping it's going to add a sensational flavor. And then, as I said, ultimately what we're going to do is we're going to take all of this liquid with the chicken fat from the chicken skin and all of the goodness that's going to be produced, and we're actually going to strain that so we have a nice clear liquid. We're going to reduce that a little bit further, and then we're going to add the shredded chicken back into it. So what that's going to mean is delicious flavors and obviously succulent meat as well. So I've done a similar process with pulled pork, and well, I'm really just hoping it's going to work with the chicken as well. So chicken is ready to go. Time to seal her up. So time to seal this Instant Pot up. Wait till you hear the magic jingle, turn it, make sure it's set to sealed, not venting, otherwise it's not going to build pressure. Then we're going to go pressure cook. Can't see anything because of all of this light. And I'm actually just going to pressure cook it for, well, YouTube tells me about 12 minutes. So pressure cook 12, set it, and forget it. And in the meantime, we're going to focus on some other things. So what I'm going to show you is how to whip up a very simple pico. Pico de gallo. This is classic Mexico flavor, if you ask me. These tacos aren't super traditional by any means. I'm not trying to say they are. But what this is super traditional Mexican. You go anywhere in Mexico, you have any kind of taco, a lot of other things, you're going to get a nice classic pico. And it's very simple to make. All you have is some diced tomato, however you want to call it, a bit of diced onion, white onion or red onion, and then we have a previously juiced lime. And that just goes in. And all that's going to do is sit. And the acid in the lime, I'm going to add a bit of salt and pepper as well, because why not? And really, all that's going to do is the acid in the lime is going to help sort of break all that down. The flavors are going to harmonize, and that's just going to make a really simple salsa, but it's also very, very fresh. It adds a really fresh element to dishes, which is really nice. And as I said, it's really common in Mexico. And for me, that's one of the things that separates more of a classic taco from sort of a Tex-Mex taco where you have sort of the store-bought salsa. So we're going to use that tonight, and it's going to add a real nice hit of freshness. Chicken's been cooking for approximately the amount of time it takes to drink one beer, or more precisely, 12 minutes. Now that's going to sit on what's called natural release, which basically turns it on low. That's some of the steam release. That's going to sit there for another couple minutes. What we're going to do right now is focus on the veggie tacos. So my grill is preheated, about 350. Got my trusty cast iron skillet on there as well. Gonna add a healthy dollop of olive oil. And I've got my zucchini, red pepper, onion, garlic, mixture in here, and that's just going to be chucked right in.
Jalapenos.
And jalapenos too, you're right. Thank you, assistant. And then to that, I'm going to add basically the same spice mixture that I added to the chicken. So again, that's the cumin, the all seasoning, the garlic powder, the salt, the pepper, the chili powder, and I think that's it. And again, as I said, if you're feeling lazy, you could just use a taco seasoning mix. Now, I'm going to add the leftover black beans, but not right now. I'm going to add those towards the end. I don't want them to get super mushy. For the time being, I'm just going to mix this all up, and we're really just going to let that sort of fry and reduce down. I'm hoping, and again, I'm hoping that this is going to take about 10 minutes to cook. And so that's going to saute nicely for the next 10 minutes or so. I'm going to crank this up. And then in that time, the chicken's going to continue to cook. And then right as everything gets hectic, chicken's going to come out. I'm going to shred it in this bowl. I'm going to drain the juices into that with a strainer so we end up with a nice liquid. That's going to go back into the Instant Pot over here. Reduce down. Shredded chicken's going to go back into that. And I'm going to cook these corn tortillas. So I want to talk to you about corn tortillas for a second, because I feel like most people, if you haven't been to, I don't want to say Central America or Latin America because Mexico is in North America. If you haven't had a corn tortilla or you haven't had one done right, you probably don't like them. First time I had them, I thought, nah, they're kind of rubbery, don't really get it. The key with corn tortillas is to heat them. And not only heat them, I recommend that you brush them with a little bit of oil. And better yet, put a bit of salt in your oil. Oil, heat, and the texture's going to change. They're going to become more delicious. So why am I raving about these corn tortillas? Well, firstly, they're more nutritious than a flour tortilla. And when they're done right, I think they're just as delicious. So, again, you can use flour tortillas. I don't really care. But for the purpose of this meal, we're going to be using the corn tortillas. And I think it really adds a nice, authentic taste. And as I said, it's just better for you, right? So that's my little soapbox moment on corn tortillas. Chicken's been sitting on sort of warm, natural release or whatever for about 5 minutes, maybe about 7. Veggie's been cooking for a while as well. That's doing fine. Time to release the pressure. So what I'm really hoping, and I don't actually know if this is going to work, is that the chicken is going to be fall off the bone tender. And if it's not, I'm going to have to improvise even more than I already am as we go. So, knob's gone down, pressure's been released. Open this up, hear the noise. Oh wow, that's fogged up my glasses a lot, but it's also smelling delicious. Pop that here. So we're going to do a little tester on one. Let me grab one of these bad boys out. Looks pretty good. And I'm going to try to just pull the bone right out of this chicken. Ooh, that tastes good. So I'm going to just take 2 forks. Oh, nice. That's coming apart really easily. That's exactly what I wanted. So the advantage of going with the bone in the meat is you get so much more flavor. And really, if I'm about anything, it's flavor. So what we're going to do is just shred each of these sort of chicken by chicken. And then we're going to address the broth or sauce that's at the bottom here. Oh, this is fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and shred all these, and then we're going to return for the next step, which is to be straining off that broth and reducing that down further. We'll also take a quick look at the veg as well. So I'll see you in just a bit. So the chicken has turned out perfectly. That's all shredded. That's ready to go. We're also going to take a quick look at the veg, which has been cooking down. And that's starting to smell and look amazing. We just want that to get, soft enough to eat, really. At this point, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to add these black beans. Again, just leftovers from yesterday. Going to add a bit more protein and also just some more texture and loveliness to that. So the veg is really tracking along perfectly well. Now we're going to go focus on the tricky bit of the chicken. So, I'm gonna need my assistant here for a second. All right, so I'm gonna strain off this broth. And the reason is that there's lots of chunky bits in it. We got the chicken skin, we got some of the veg, and we don't really want that. We just want the beautiful liquid. So we're gonna strain that off. And then we're gonna take this, I'm gonna take that, and we're gonna put that just somewhere off camera. And then the beautiful, look at that. That's packed just full of salt, flavor, fat, amazingness. I popped this back on saute, and I'm just gonna put, I'm not gonna put all the liquid back in because we don't actually want all of the liquid. But I do want, probably put about half of it back in there. And what I'm gonna do is just let that reduce, and I'm gonna add the chicken back in. So until we eat, the chicken, the shredded chicken, it's just gonna be bathing in its own deliciousness, really. And that's gonna reduce, and that's just gonna add even more flavor in there. Because it's a chicken thigh, plenty of fat, and because there's so much liquid, we don't have to worry about it drying out. All that's gonna do is sit, cook, and bask in delicious flavor. We're gonna take a look again at the veg. And really, we're getting close. We're getting really close. I'm gonna let that cook for a few more minutes to soften up even further. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw these corn tortillas on the grill, really only for about 2 minutes. So I'll come back to you in just a few minutes, but we are getting close, which means my favorite part of the whole deal is coming up, and that is taste test. Veg is looking awesome now. It's cooked through, you know, it's not mush by any means, but it's cooked through. That's ready to go. And so chicken is cooking away still as well. And now it's time for that all-important treatment of the corn tortillas. So, straight onto the grill. Make sure you give them a nice liberal coating with, as I said, just some oil. And I've also seasoned that oil with a bit of salt. And really, in 2 minutes or so, these are going to be delicious. The texture is going to have changed a little bit, and they're going to be just nicer, really. I also like to season both sides because, well, salt's always good. And again, just that idea of helping kind of change the texture from, I don't want to say rubbery, but not really the same as flour, into something that's going to be nice. So I'm going to shut this up for just a couple minutes, and then we're going to plate up. Favorite part of the night is here. So turn everything off, and I'm going to take my tacos off. So they've been on for about 2 minutes, and I want you to take a quick look at this. So it's super important that they still have sort of malleability. You know, you want some bend. You don't want to turn these into like tostadas or something really crunchy, so you still want a bit of flex. So we're going to start with that. I know I said I was making veggie and meat ones, but I'm going to take a bit of the veg, put that at the bottom. Now the chicken has reduced now, and what you've got is just, oh man, just some amazing shredded chicken, tons of liquid, tons of flavor. Now I'm going to add a bit of avocado, because I like avocado. I'm going to add a bit of cheese. Again, not super traditional, but a bit of cheese. Then our old friend Greek yogurt, because you know, you could use sour cream if you want, but we got Greek yogurt. Add some of that, add some creaminess, and then this is it. This is the most important bit right here, in my opinion. A bit of that lovely fresh pico right on top. Bit of juice, a little bit more. And then picked fresh from the garden, some cilantro, because it wouldn't be a taco without some cilantro. Look at the color. Oh, amazing. And now let's try this. Amazing. Amazing taco. I eat tacos a lot, but I gotta be honest, I'm very excited about this one. So, let's try it out. Mmm. Oh my God. I will never make tacos again without using the Instant Pot. In Mexico, a lot of the meats you see are shredded and they're sitting in a pot and they're simmering. And really what that's done in like 20 minutes is replicate that flavor and that texture. And I mean, regardless, with or without the chicken, the veggie is amazing. You get the smoke from the barbecue. But the whole package, the whole deal. The combination is out of control. That's so good. If you do one thing, try these tacos. Lip-smackingly delicious. You don't need to go to Mexico to try tacos like this. And quite frankly, right now, you're not going anywhere. So just make them at home. Now with that, my friends, stay safe, stay healthy, stay full.